December might look like the month where everything in the garden goes to sleep, but the truth is, this is the month where quiet gardeners win. While everyone else is waiting for spring, you're about to start seeds that reward you earlier, grow stronger, taste better, and save you money. Today I'm sharing 10 seeds you should start in December before it's too late, especially if you want a head start on your vegetables, flowers, and early harvests. These are seeds that look ordinary on the packet, but their behavior in cold weather is where the magic happens. If you're watching this, you're already different. You're an early mover, and December gardening is the secret sauce behind some of the best gardens you've ever seen online. Half the gardeners you admire don't wait for warm weather. They prepare now, and today, you're joining that level. Let's start strong with something simple, something underrated, and something nearly impossible to mess up: spinach. Spinach is one of those plants that doesn't complain, doesn't need pampering, and actually prefers cold soil. Starting spinach in December gives you leaves that are sweeter, thicker, and somehow more flavorful than anything you plant in warm weather. It's like the cold brings out the personality of the plant. You don't need fancy containers to start spinach. I've used old bowls, cracked buckets, and even a cut-up water dispenser once. As long as it holds soil, spinach doesn't judge you. Scatter the seeds lightly, cover them gently, water them once, and let the cold air do the hard work. If you've ever struggled with greens before, spinach is your redemption arc. And after your first winter-grown batch, you'll never skip starting it in December again. Now let's talk about something gardeners recognize, but rarely use to its full potential: calendula. Calendula is that bright orange or yellow flower you probably see labeled as a medicinal herb. It looks like a pretty little daisy, but it behaves like a survival expert. When you start calendula seeds in December, the plants grow low and tough, forming a strong base that helps them bloom non-stop the moment the temperature warms even slightly. These early started calendulas bloom longer, handle heat better, and produce more flowers compared to ones started in spring. And the best part is that calendula doesn't want to be buried deep. The lighter the soil covering, the happier it is. I love this plant because it's multi-purpose. It's beautiful, attracts pollinators, and can even be dried for tea. But truly, the December start is what takes it from pretty to unstoppable. Once you grow it this way, you'll never look at those little orange petals the same. Next up, sugar snap peas, the sprinters of the vegetable world. These seeds don't waste time. Once they feel moisture, they get right to work. But something most gardeners don't realize is that peas prefer starting early, before pests wake up, and before heat ruins the pods. December sowing gives them a head start, allowing stronger roots and earlier harvests. I always soak snap pea seeds before planting, just for a couple of hours, because it wakes them up nicely, kind of like giving them a gentle push. If you're limited on space, peas love vertical growing, which means you can get a huge harvest without sacrificing floor space. There's a reason old farmers always sowed peas earlier than everyone else in the neighborhood. They knew the secret we're talking about today, and December is that secret. Now let's move underground with beets. Beets are a personal favorite of mine because they behave differently depending on the temperature. Plant them in warm weather and you get okay beets. Plant them in cooler weather, especially starting in December, and suddenly you get sweeter, smoother, better colored roots. Starting beets early also helps them escape the early spring pests that usually love beet leaves. But here's the key: beets absolutely hate being crowded. They want their space, even as tiny seedlings. Spacing reduces stress and gives you bigger roots without effort. If you've ever felt like beets were underwhelming, December sowing is your game changer. You'll pull them out of the ground months later and wonder how you ever gardened without them. Let's keep the momentum going with pak choi. This plant is your fast food vegetable. Fast to sprout, fast to grow, fast to harvest, and extremely beginner friendly. Pak choi started in December grows compact, juicy, and tender in ways it simply won't in hot weather. It doesn't bolt early, and cold air actually improves its texture. Start the seeds in trays or small pots now, and you'll have young seedlings ready to plant as soon as winter eases. It's a crop that makes you feel skilled even if you've only gardened for a week. You can grow pak choi on balconies, patios, windowsills, or right in the ground. If you're someone who wants quick wins, pak choi is your plant this December. Now let's switch to something for the senses: sweet peas. Not the edible kind, the flower. If you've never grown sweet peas before, December is the perfect time to discover them. These seeds need a cool start to develop strong roots. The plants you start in December grow taller, bloom earlier, and smell stronger than the ones planted later. Sweet peas have long roots, and one of my favorite tricks is to plant them in toilet paper tubes. It gives the roots the depth they crave, and the tubes break down naturally in soil. Sweet peas are the kind of flowers that make guests ask, "What's that smell?" They climb trellises, fences, old sticks, anything they can grab onto. December sowing gives you the kind of display that makes your garden feel magical. Let's head back to the vegetable world with carrots. Carrots started in December develop sweetness that warm weather carrots usually miss. The cold concentrates their sugars, making them taste like nature's candy. Carrots need loose soil to grow straight, and sowing them early gives the roots time to expand without heat stress. One thing about carrots, once you plant them, you must forget them. They don't like being moved or disturbed. Scatter the seeds, cover lightly, water gently, and let winter take over. When spring arrives, you'll see those beautiful feathery tops popping up, and you'll know your early start paid off. Let's talk lettuce next. Lettuce mixes started in December give you some of the earliest spring harvests, and you don't even need precision when planting them. You can scatter the seeds in trays, containers, or even recycled food packaging. Lettuce is forgiving. It grows quickly, germinates easily, and gives you beautiful, tender leaves as soon as the sun returns. The trick is to avoid overwatering. Cold soil doesn't dry out as fast. But once you get the hang of it, lettuce becomes one of the easiest crops to grow year-round. December sowing gives you a jump start on salads, wraps, sandwiches, and snacking greens. Now comes the seed almost everyone forgets. Onion seeds. Not sets, not bulbs, but seeds. Starting onions in December is the secret to growing big, healthy bulbs later. Onion seeds love a long growing season, and giving them a December start is like gifting them bonus weeks of root development. Give them plenty of light, because onions are light-hungry plants. Start them in small trays, water lightly, and watch the green shoots emerge. These early sown onions are tougher, more flavorful, and grow into larger bulbs than onions planted late. It's one of those crops you don't appreciate until harvest day, when you pull out heavy onions and realize how simple the whole process was. And now we reach the most underrated December seed, broad beans, also known as fava beans. Broad beans love tough weather. When you start them in December, something interesting happens. The cold temperature forces them to develop incredibly strong roots and thick stems. These early started broad beans produce more pods, suffer fewer pests, and grow faster once the warmer weather comes. Before planting, soak the seeds for about 12 hours. It opens them up and gets them ready for germination. Broad beans grow tall, strong, and abundant, and they enrich your soil by fixing nitrogen. They're like free fertilizer in plant form. Once you grow them this way, you'll understand why older gardeners swear by December sowing. These 10 seeds don't just give you plants, they give you a massive head start. December sowing is something most new gardeners overlook. They pack their tools away, assume gardening season is over, and miss out on the powerful advantage they could have gained by simply sowing a few seeds now. But not you. You're building a garden that wakes up early, grows stronger, and outperforms the typical spring-planted garden. And when people ask how you did it, you'll smile because they don't know the December secret you just learned. Starting seeds in December is one of those things gardeners don't realize the power of until they actually try it. At first, it feels strange planting when the world looks cold and asleep. But the moment those seedlings begin to pop up in late winter, you'll understand why this timing matters. It's like your garden wakes up earlier than everyone else's. There's a sense of pride that comes with being ahead of the season, and suddenly, gardening doesn't feel rushed. You're not waiting during spring, scrambling to catch up. Instead, you're calm, prepared, and watching your plants thrive while other gardeners are still flipping through seed catalogs, trying to decide what to grow. December sowing is the difference between reacting to gardening and leading your gardening year with intention. One of the best parts about starting seeds early is how much money you save without even trying. Buying seedlings in spring can get expensive fast, especially if you're growing multiple varieties. But when you start your seeds in December, you're essentially creating your own nursery. A few packets of seeds stretch far, especially the ones that last for multiple seasons. Spinach, lettuce, beets, and peas are some of the most cost-effective crops you can grow, and each seed you start now is money you keep in your pocket later. And beyond saving money, you also save time. When you plant early, you reduce the risk of losing precious weeks to unpredictable weather. No more waiting for the perfect warm day, no more rushing to plant everything at once. You get a gentle, steady lead that gives your garden rhythm instead of chaos. Another beautiful thing about December sowing is the kind of growth you get. Cold-started seedlings develop differently. They grow slower at first, but the roots become incredibly strong. Think of it like strength training for plants. They push through colder soil, deal with fluctuating temperatures, and learn resilience early. That resilience shows up later in the season when heat or pests arrive. Plants that started in the cold are simply tougher. They have better root systems, stronger stems, and a natural resistance that spring-sown plants often lack. A garden built on December sowing is like a garden full of warriors prepared for anything. And then there's the emotional part of early sowing, something gardeners rarely talk about out loud, but all of us feel. Winter can make people feel disconnected from nature, especially if gardening is your escape, your therapy, or your creative outlet. Starting seeds in December gives you something alive to look forward to during the quiet months. It reminds you that growth is still happening, even in silence. There's something calming about checking on seedlings while everyone else believes the gardening world is still asleep. It gives you hope, structure, and a reason to stay connected to your space even in the darkest season. Let's go back through the seeds and deepen an understanding of how each one plays into this December magic. Spinach doesn't just handle cold, it thrives in it. The slow, steady growth creates deep green leaves packed with nutrients. When the days get longer, spinach already has a head start, which means you get harvests long before heat causes it to bolt. Calendula gives you flowers earlier, but it also gives you free seeds later. Each dried flower head produces enough seeds to plant your garden over and over. December sowing means your plants mature early enough to keep reseeding naturally. Sugar snap peas grow strong and tall with early starts. Their vines get established before the hot air arrives, leading to crisp, sweet pods that taste best when grown cool. Peas grown this way also produce more pods per plant, making them one of the most efficient crops you can grow in a small space. Beets started in December have time to develop deep roots that taste better. Cold-grown beets are naturally sweeter because they produce sugars that protect them from the chill. Pak choi grown now becomes tender and full of flavor. Cold makes the leaves crisp and clean tasting, perfect for stir-fries or soups. Sweet peas, the flowers, develop fragrance and height when they start early. Their vines become thick and productive, covering trellises with blooms that catch the eye from across the yard. Carrots show their best qualities when they grow slowly in cool temperatures. Their colors develop deeply, especially purple and rainbow varieties. You'll notice a difference the first time you bite into a cold-started carrot. It tastes like the carrot version of candy. Lettuce mixes give you variety without effort. Starting them in December means you have baby greens ready before spring gardening even begins. These are the crops that make you feel productive right when the world is waking up. Onion seeds become strong seedlings when they get an early start. Onions love long growing seasons, and December gives them that luxury. When everyone else is planting their onions in spring, yours will already be growing thick green tops. And broad beans, the giants of cool season crops, will reward you with pods earlier and in greater numbers. They fix nitrogen in your soil, which helps the next crops you plant after them. Broad bean December can handle frost like it's nothing. They grow stocky, powerful, and reliable. December sowing is also about using small, simple systems that work even in tiny urban spaces. You don't need fancy equipment. A sunny window, a cheap grow light, recycled containers, or even old takeout trays work perfectly. One of the biggest myths in gardening is that you need a lot of money to start early. Urban Eden Garden exists to prove the opposite. Some of the best gardens are grown with creativity, not cash. Starting seeds in repurposed containers is one of the smartest moves you can make. Egg cartons, yogurt cups, plastic bottles cut in half, these things function just as well as store-bought trays, sometimes even better. When you pair this with December sowing, you suddenly have a garden that cost almost nothing to start, yet ends up producing season after season. Starting now also gives you time to correct mistakes. If a few seeds don't germinate, you can re-sow without losing your whole season. If your seedlings grow leggy, you can adjust light. If you want to experiment with new varieties, December gives you the breathing room to try without pressure. And most importantly, early sowing teaches you how plants behave. You learn their pace, their quirks, and their needs. This knowledge makes you a stronger gardener in every season. Another incredible benefit of sowing now is the impact it has on harvest timing. Imagine harvesting spinach and lettuce while your neighbors are still waiting for their soil to warm up. Imagine pulling early carrots before pests appear. Imagine broad beans flowering while other gardens are still being cleaned up from winter. Early harvests set the tone for your garden year. They give you momentum, they build confidence, and they give you something to enjoy while you wait for warm season crops. December sowing isn't about speed, it's about preparation. It's about giving your garden a quiet, powerful head start. Plants are more patient than people. They don't need perfect weather, they need time. And December gives them that time without competition, without heat stress, and without overcrowding. It's the most peaceful way to begin your gardening year. When you look back months from now, you'll notice something interesting. The plants you started in December often outperform everything else you plant later. They look sturdier, they handle weather swings better, they bounce back from setbacks quickly. It's because they were trained by the cold, shaped by early light, and supported by the natural rhythm of slow winter growth. When spring comes, they explode with energy. And when summer arrives, they stand firm while other plants struggle. This is the long-term advantage you gain, and it all starts with a few seeds in the quiet of winter. By choosing to start seeds now, you're building a garden that saves you money, saves you effort, and gives you results earlier than you're used to. You're not gardening reactively, you're gardening intelligently. December sowing is the strategy that transforms small spaces into productive gardens. It's the shortcut used by experienced gardeners, and it's the reason their gardens always seem a step ahead. Now that you know the secret, it's your turn to use it. And here's the truth. You don't need to start all 10 seeds to see the benefits. Start 2, 3, or 4. Spinach and lettuce for quick wins. Peas if you love climbing crops. Sweet peas if you want fragrance. Onions if you want something truly long-term. Choose what fits your space and lifestyle. December sowing isn't about pressure. It's about quiet progress. You don't have to do this perfectly. You just have to start. When you look at your garden next year and you see early vegetables, early flowers, early growth, you'll know it came from the choices you made today. This is how experienced gardeners build abundance. Slow, steady decisions layered over time. And today, you took one of the smartest steps you can take. If this video gave you ideas, if it gave you inspiration, or if you learned something new, make sure you let me know in the comments. I love hearing what you're planting and what your garden plans are. It helps me make videos that support you even more. And if you enjoyed this, hit the like button. It helps the channel reach more gardeners who want to grow without breaking the bank. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the perfect time. Join the Urban Eden Garden family where we grow smart, save money, and create beauty in every small space. I've got so many more tips coming your way, and I'd love to have you along for all of them.